Ever wondered how we get a literal, detailed snapshot of, anywhere on Earth, even if it's thousands of miles away, maybe hidden by clouds or in the middle of the night?
It's pretty amazing technology, really.
Right. And it's crucial for everything from tracking disasters to understanding what's happening in global hotspots.
Yeah.
A really big name here is Maxar Technologies.
Oh, yeah, Maxar. They're definitely a major player.
They say they offer the most comprehensive suite of commercial satellite imagery. And what's fascinating is their use of SAR synthetic aperture radar.
SAR, yes. It's a game changer.
Can you maybe explain that a bit? It lets them see through clouds.
Exactly. Think of it like sonar, but with radio waves instead of sound. It creates incredibly detailed images, day or night, rain or shine, basically peering through clouds and darkness.
Okay, incredible tech. But hold that thought because this is where the story gets a bit concerning.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so February 2025, this is just months before things really heated up between India and Pakistan.
Right, a very tense period.
Maxar reportedly got, at least a dozen orders for really high-resolution satellite images. And they were all focused on one place, Pahalgam in Kashmir.
Pahalgam, okay.
Then, just a couple months later, April 2025, Pahalgam was the site of that awful tourist attack.
The timing is interesting. A dozen high-res orders of that specific spot right before an attack there.
Exactly. Makes you wonder, right? Coincidence or something else?
It definitely raises questions. A concentration of surveillance like that immediately before a security incident. Well, it looks suspicious at the very least. You have to consider a potential link.
And here's where it gets even weirder. Yeah. This spike in image orders happened after Maxar had partnered up with a Pakistani company.
Okay. Which company?
A geospatial intelligence firm called Business System International, BSI. They partnered in 2023.
Right.
Now get this. BSI is owned by a Pakistani-American businessman, Obidullah Syed. And in 2022, just the year before the Maxar partnership, Syed was convicted in a U.S. court for breaking U.S. export laws.
Convicted? For what exactly?
For illegally sending sensitive satellite imagery and services to Pakistani firms that were actually on the U.S. entity list.
Wow. The entity list. That's serious. Those are companies the U.S. government considers a national security risk.
Precisely. He sent them stuff without getting the required licenses. And it gets worse.
How so?
This guy, Syed, and his company, BSI, they have documented links to top Pakistani officials and agencies involved with Pakistan's nuclear weapons program.
You're kidding? Like who?
We're talking the Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission, PAEC, and the National Development Complex, NDC.
PAEC and NDC.
Right.
Those are the core of their nuclear program.
And listen to this. Back in 2020, U.S. Homeland Security Investigations, HIS, explicitly identified PAEC and NDC as responsible for weaponizing nuclear technology through missile development and other means.
So let me get this straight. A guy convicted for illegally sending satellite tech to restricted entities linked directly to Pakistan's nuclear weapons development. His company then becomes a partner with Maxar.
In 2023. Yep. It's pretty jaw-dropping when you lay it out like that.
Jaw-dropping is one word for it. It raises huge questions about Maxar's due diligence, doesn't it?
You'd think so. Now, just for background, Maxar isn't some fly-by-night operation. They've been around forever, basically.
Right, they have a long history.
Started as Western Development Labs in '57, part of Philco, then Philco Ford, then Space Systems Laurel, merged into Maxar.
And Philco built Courier 1B, right, the first active repeater satellite back in the 60s.
That's the one. Shows their deep roots in this stuff. Now they're owned by private equity, Advent International, and BCI has a stake too.
So an established major player with significant capabilities.
Definitely. Okay, so let's circle back to those Pahalgam image orders. The Print, that's an Indian news outlet, they reported on this.
Yeah.
They said the dozen or so high-res orders popped up in February 2025. But crucially, the request for imagery of that area didn't just start then.
Oh, when did they start?
According to the Print, the initial requests started showing up on Maxar's portal way back in June 2024.
June 2024. That's 8 months before the February spike and well before the April attack.
Exactly. A sustained interest in that specific location for months.
That timeline, it makes the BSI connection even more prominent, doesn't it? If they partnered in 2023 and requests started mid-2024.
Right. And remember that his complaint against BSI from back in 2020?
The one alleging they were selling satellite images to the Pakistani government?
Yeah. It specifically said BSI purchases satellite images from a Colorado-based company. Maxar is Colorado-based, by the way, and then sells those images to an unspecified arm of the Pakistan government.
So there were warnings, or at least serious allegations, about BSI acting as a potential conduit even before the Maxar partnership.
Seems like it really makes you question the vetting process there.
Absolutely. Especially given Syed's actual conviction in 2022.
And that conviction wasn't minor. Exporting satellite imagery, services, even high-performance computer gear to PAEC, the nuclear agency, all without licenses.
Deliberately circumventing U.S. export controls meant to protect sensitive technology.
And yet, BSI becomes a Maxar partner in 2023. It's puzzling, to say the least.
Astonishing, really. The potential risk seems enormous.
So what does Maxar say? Well, they deny it, flat out.
Deny what specifically?
They told India Today TV that BSI did not place any orders for Pahalgam images, not this year, not from the archive, called the reports false and misleading.
Okay, a strong denial.
But here's another twist. The print reported that just hours after their first story broke, poof, BSI vanished from Maxar's official partner page online.
Really? They just removed them?
Apparently, Maxar hasn't officially confirmed the partnership is terminated, but BSI isn't listed anymore.
Removing them publicly while denying the specific claim, that suggests they're definitely feeling the heat. Damage control.
You think. Now, what are other experts saying? There's some skepticism about whether high-end satellite images were even needed for that specific attack.
Right. What kind of attack was it?
The reports say it involved shooting tourists at point-blank range. An intelligence officer told India Today TV something interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, if you have local support, sleeper cells, you don't really need fresh satellite pics for that kind of attack. And they asked, why risk operational security ordering satellite data when you have people on the ground?
That's a very valid point. Human intelligence, ground recon, often more practical for tactical stuff. Less traceable, too.
And an industry insider pointed out how easy it is to get satellite imagery now.
Yeah, the market's exploded, hasn't it?
Totally. US, Europe, China, Israel, tons of providers. This insider said you can literally order tasking on a mobile app now. Don't even need a company.
So focusing just on Maxar might miss the bigger picture. Anyone could potentially get imagery from various sources.
Right. And Nathan Ruser, an analyst at ASPI.
Australian Strategic Policy Institute? Yeah, he's well respected.
He commented on X, saying basically, nothing in this article successfully demonstrates any abnormal patterns of satellite imaging over the terror attack.
So from his analysis, no clear smoking gun in the publicly available satellite data patterns themselves.
Seems to be his take. It adds another layer of complexity. The BSI link is worrying, the timing is weird, but the direct link via image orders isn't proven.
It highlights the difference between suspicious circumstances and concrete evidence.
Okay, let's quickly zoom out. All this happened against the backdrop of the 2025 India-Pakistan conflict. Operation Sindoor, it was reportedly codenamed.
Oh, right, that escalated fast.
It kicked off really after that April 22nd attack in Kashmir. India downgraded ties, suspended the Indus Waters Treaty, then skirmishes escalated.
And missile strikes followed.
Yeah. India reportedly launched Operation Sindoor on May 7th, hitting targets in Pakistan. Pakistan retaliated. There were reports of drones, air activity. Pretty intense.
Until the ceasefire on May 10th. But tensions obviously remain high.
Dangerously high. And within that conflict narrative, there are these really sensitive, unconfirmed reports about Kirana Hills.
Kirana Hills,
Yeah.
near Sargodha Air Base. That's where Pakistan's nuclear assets are suspected to be stored, right?
Exactly, just kilometers from the base. A war analyst, Tom Cooper, claimed India hit an underground nuclear storage site there, a U-shaped facility.
Hit a nuclear storage site? When?
On May 10th, the same day Pakistan reportedly asked for the ceasefire, around 1 a.m.
Wow, that's a massive claim. Any evidence?
Cooper claims it was a precise attack. Then there were unconfirmed reports of radiation leaks. And this strange story about an Egyptian military plane, EGY 1916.
Egyptian? What about it?
Allegedly flew in boron compounds from Egypt. Boron's used for radiation control, and supposedly brought in with Pakistani and even U.S. cooperation.
Boron. U.S. cooperation. That sounds wild.
And people shared unverified videos online, supposedly showing smoke over Kirana Hills around that time. Again, all unconfirmed, highly sensitive stuff.
Extremely sensitive. If any of that is true, the implications are enormous, but we need solid proof, not just claims and rumor.
Absolutely. Treat with extreme caution. So look, this whole deep dive leaves us grappling with some really tough questions, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
Like, what was the real reason for those Maxar image orders of Pahalgam? Was the timing just bad luck?
Or something more calculated?
And the Maxar BSI partnership, given Syed's conviction and the nuclear links. What are the security risks there? How did that even happen?
It questions the whole vetting process in the commercial satellite industry, especially when dealing with potentially sensitive regions and clients.
And how do we connect these dots? The image orders, the controversial partnership, the sudden conflict escalation, these unverified but alarming reports about Kirana Hills.
It paints a picture of how commercial tech, geopolitics, and potential military action can intertwine in really complex and potentially dangerous ways.
Which brings us to a final thought, maybe for you, the listener, to chew on. In this world where tech like satellite imagery is everywhere, how do we balance it?
Balance the benefits, disaster response, transparency with the risks.
Exactly. The risk of misuse, espionage, helping bad actors, maybe even unintended escalation in conflicts.
Hmm.
What's the role of private companies like Maxar?
And what kind of oversight actually works? Can we really mitigate these risks effectively?
Because this whole situation shows, I think, how even something seemingly technical, like selling satellite photos, can have these huge rippling effects on global events,
Yeah.
often in ways we don't fully see or understand until much later.
It's a reminder of the complexity and the high stakes involved in the modern world, definitely requires ongoing scrutiny.